lot, what kind of food do you have in your pantry? And of course, I've shown you many times on this channel a type of food that I eat personally, but today I'm gonna show you what not just is on my diet, but what my family's eating too, and where I win some battles and where I lose some. I didn't even really take anything out. I'm not hiding any food from you. I'm just gonna show you what's really here on an average day for us. So this is my pantry. I keep my Dutch ovens on the bottom, and I'm not gonna go over everything that's in here, obviously. And then of course my potatoes and onions and those sorts of things are in a basket on the bottom. But up here, let's start with my section over here. So this is kind of my chunk of the pantry, and these are the foods that I eat. So you've seen me talk about sprouted nuts and seeds, so I keep a lot of those in here. I do have some cassava flour. This is not something that I use a lot, but it is in here in case I have some, maybe I'm breading some chicken or something like that. My family eats this quite a bit and they don't know the difference between this and white flour. The only drawback to this is that it's very, very high in carbs. So cassava is a root, and it's a very starchy root. It's taro root actually, and it's just really high in carbs. So it's not the kind of thing that I would make a cake out of or anything like that, but it is fine for some breading. I've got cacao powder. So I'm working on making the switch from refined cocoa powder to cacao, which has all the natural original minerals in it that unrefined chocolate should have, and this is one that we're kind of working on adding to smoothies and that sort of thing. And then I have some general baking, tapioca flour, almond flour, those sorts of things sit up here. Back in the corner, before I forget, I have the best invention ever made. I don't think there's anything smarter. I keep a collection of mason jars ready in the pantry all the time for dry goods or for something I need to store in the refrigerator. But what I love are these lids. These are Ball Canning's screw-on leak-proof plastic lids. I will choke my children for leaving something in the refrigerator with the original canning jar flat on top, because they knock it over, it spills in the back or whatever, and these truly do not leak. So I use them on, if I'm sending a salad to school with one of my kids, these go on their salad dressing containers before they go in their lunch boxes, and they never ever leak. So I feel like they're a wonderful investment. I keep those in the back. I have a whole bunch of those. I have my baking supplies. I have loaf pans and bread supplies in here. I have our favorite protein, our Thrive Market collagen peptides. This is the one we use all the time in smoothies. You've seen me use it here on the channel in my smoothie video, so that's a great one to have. We don't eat a lot of pasta, but if we did, we get into something like this. This is Thrive Market's organic shells, and these are chickpea. They are gluten-free. And this chickpea pasta tastes, it's not regular pasta. I'll just say that. But it's not a super bold flavor. So this is one that we eat when we do eat pasta. What I find is that because of all the carbs, when I make this for the family, about an hour later, somebody's back in here in the kitchen saying, "Where's dinner?" So we don't get into a lot of that. Let's see, we've got rice. I have, of course, some standard rice, but then I also have sprouted. So you've heard me talk about sprouted grains here on the channel a lot, and so this is sprouted brown rice. I buy this one from Thrive Market as well. I'm gonna leave you a link below this video in case you wanna try Thrive Market. You can get 40% off on your first order, so it's great to have. And then I've got some sprouted quinoa in here, again from Thrive Market. Because I live so far out, it's really hard to reach specialty grocery stores to get my hands on anything like this. And Thrive Market has wonderful prices, way more competitive than anything else I would get. So it's worth it for me to invest in that. Another thing I have in here right now are Jovial organic chickpeas. So I am making hummus for the family. There is almost no hummus on the market that I have found that doesn't contain inflammatory oils. So canola, sunflower, safflower, whatever. Even the organic ones have inflammatory oils. So I'm using good quality chickpeas and making my own hummus for my family. This brand, specifically by Jovial, is sprouted or soaked before it is processed, and that helps to neutralize some of those anti-nutrients that are in grains and legumes. So that's why I picked those. Oh, and let's see, I've got seasoning wise, I keep tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce. This is one that we use if my kids are eating rice or something like that. I also have coconut aminos. And then we get into my tea section down here. So there's a lot of news lately about dried herbal teas and the amount of plastic that is leaking from the tea bags into your tea itself. I heard a statistic that as Americans we eat a credit card's worth of plastic every year from products like this. So it's really important that when you're selecting tea that you're getting a brand that isn't using those microplastics in their tea bags. I know traditional medicinals does not, and it's also really important that you get organic because a lot of teas are full of herbicides and pesticides. It's really important to reduce your load on those, so picking out an organic is a great thing. And this is the Everyday Detox. I drink this one a few times a week. It's good for your liver and your kidneys and that sort of thing. I've got a few different kinds in here, some turmeric. This is loose tea for kombucha. I have been experimenting with making my own. I did my first round, it wasn't successful, but you do need an organic black tea for that, and I'll try again. Maybe next week we'll try again. Let's see, down on this shelf, flours. This is regular old white flour, King Arthur, but this is what I make my sourdough with. So I keep all-purpose and bread flour in here. I have organic cane sugar in the back. This is what I feed my sourdough. And then there's a little bit of gluten-free flour tucked away in there. I have a separate pantry in the back of the house where I keep all of my home canned products, but I brought you out a few. So I do my own canned diced tomatoes. If you've never canned, please tell me. Leave me a comment and tell me why you've never tried home canning. And if you'd like to see a whole series on that this spring and summer as we get started, please let me know and I'll make us one. But I have all kinds of things here. I have diced tomatoes, green beans. These are home canned potatoes. If you've never had one, they're the most delicious things you'll ever eat. So I highly recommend you learn how to do that. And then I've done some more combo recipe. So this is carrots and celery and onion in chicken broth, and I call these my recipe starters. So these are really nice to have on hand. You can just pour the whole jar into a casserole or a soup and you're that much closer to dinner. And then I've got some pickled okra here, which is really delicious. We go through several jars of this every season, and pickling and jam making and jelly making is a lot easier than some other things, so it's a great place to start if you're a beginner. Now let's see what's on this side. Oh, can you see my big jar of Jif back here? It's in here. It's true. I have one. This is not a health food, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it's something that I really don't like for my family to eat, but they still enjoy it. And this one jar has been in here. It's about half full. And it's been in here about 4 months. We're getting to the end of its cycle, I think. But nobody's digging into it a lot. And I've always been a believer in balance. I just am not going to sweat this. If they want to eat the sugar and the canola oil and all the things, well, this one I lose, right? This is my part of the battle that I lose. Now for myself, I eat just a really plain, basic almond butter. There are much better choices on the market than Jif. There really, really are. So this one is just almonds and salt. You can find peanut butter that's just peanuts and salt. So this is the one that I use if I'm gonna have a snack. I also have raw honey in here. I get some of this from Thrive Market and then some of it is locally grown. So this one, my parents raised for me, and then this one is Beekeeper's Naturals and you can buy it on Thrive Market. Raw honey is always the best honey. Got some coconut water in here, and then you get kind of down into some of the drier goods. I do keep some gluten-free breadcrumbs on hand. This is just for, quick breading of things if we have something that comes up through the week. I don't eat a lot of this because it is grain-based, but for the rest of my family, it's fine. And then I have my secret weapons, and these are freeze-dried foods. I have loved freeze-dried foods for a really, really long time, and there's something I keep on hand for those times when you need like 2 tablespoons of frozen peas or 1/4 of a cup of something. I don't like to waste, and I don't like to buy a whole bag of something and leave it in the freezer for 2 months so that it's freezer burned the next time I need it. And Thrive Life gives me the option to just use a couple of tablespoons of these. They are whole foods with no extra ingredients or preservatives or additives, and I just love keeping these on hand. If I need just a pinch of something, I've got it right here. And these are good, open, on my shelf for over a year, even the meats and the cheeses. So if you'd like to see more about freeze-dried food, leave me a comment and I'll show you more about them. But they are absolutely my favorite, and I will give you a link for how to shop for these too. And then what else is hiding back here? I've got some tuna fish in here. We always eat wild-caught, sustainable tuna. So not very often, a time a couple times a month, something like that. I've got a little bit of paleo pancake mix in here. This is not something we go to very often, again, because of the carbs, right? We're going to steady our blood sugar, and eating a lot of heavy carbs is just going to make you swing around and be miserable. So we don't eat it a lot, but this one is real heavy on the coconut flour, so that's not always easy on people's digestion. You have to be careful with that one, but it tastes pretty good. I do keep grain-free tortillas or taco shells in here for me. My family usually eats regular ones, and these are the ones that I eat. I really like Siete because they don't use inflammatory oils. These are made with avocado oil, and they're a good choice so that you can feel like you're eating, you know, normal food like everybody else. I do keep some medjool dates in the pantry. I also tend to keep a lot of dried fruit, like dried figs. I don't have any in here right now, but these are really handy for soaking and using in recipes in place of regular sugars. We've got your good old traditional regular box of Zesta crackers. My son and his cheese and crackers and those sorts of things. This is another one that I lose on for the battle, but it's a small thing. And so I don't mind if they have those every once in a while. And then finally, hiding out in the back is a box of Raisin Bran. Now, this is the first box of cereal that's been in our house in probably over a year. And my son asked, he's like, Mom, could you buy me a box of cereal? It's been a long time since I had some. And I did. He does not eat this for breakfast. It's actually either an after-school snack with some other source of protein, or it's actually pretty full. I don't think he's really been into it much. Or it's a supplemental kind of thing, but we don't eat this as any sort of single meal. But it's in here for a little while. I'll probably end up throwing it away because nobody will eat it. And then in the back corner, I have a whole bunch of kombucha bottles and jars that I store things in. On the top shelf, you'll see this is the extent of my gadgets. So I have my Vitamix, my ice cream maker, my wonderful Breville food processor, which I absolutely love. You need to own one. These are the bowls that I make my sourdough in, and they're just really big and really bulky. But other than that, I try to keep things really streamlined. I hope this has helped you see a little bit about how we eat in our house. If you have any questions or need to know anything else about anything you've seen, feel free to ask, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys.